All right, Rod Woody Woodruff, you are on Driven to Ride. Thank you for being here, sir.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and also thank you for your hospitality at the Buffalo Chip. What an amazing place.
I'm glad you enjoyed yourself.
I
That's our
did.
game.
Yeah, I did very much. But let's start at the beginning. What do people most know you for? What is kind of your claim to fame?
Oh, we throw the best party anywhere. And, I think that that's absolutely the truth. We get that back from people that are here, send us cards, letters, emails afterwards saying, wow, it really is the best party anywhere, right? So they go home with a lot of memories and they're good and the new friends, right? So that's really what we're known for is just having a place that they know is going to be here and know is going to be fun without any pressure of any kind. So they get to come again and enjoy the freedom that they wish they'd had when they were in high school, right?
I love it. I think that's the best way to put it. So you started the Buffalo Chip, correct?
Yeah. There were some other people involved in the idea, the genesis of the thing, of course, in 81 when we started and 82 for the first event and, been here ever since. This one that's just concluded was our 43rd consecutive annual event.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a long time.
That
So I
is.
try not to tell people. It just makes you seem like you must be old, right?
Well, you still seem to know how to have a lot of fun. So that's really all that matters, right?
It helps, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Life without enjoyment would be the pits.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get into the story a little bit. Why did you start the Buffalo Chip? Where did this come from?
Where it came from was that the rally had grown to where the government figures were saying, oh my God, 20,000 people showed up. Oh my God, 50,000 people maybe showed up, right? And, it's just too many people and they're all camping out in the park and they're misbehaving. And we just got to figure out some way to keep them from coming into town. And so they spent a goodly amount of time and some money campaigning to do that. And ultimately had an election, which I don't know how good it would have been anyway. But whether or not they could just keep people from coming into town, they come up with some different ideas, like maybe they could charge $3 or something just to come into the city limits if you were on a motorcycle and that sort of stuff. Silliness, thinking about it now, but it was all dead serious back in the late 70s. And I think the election that they had was actually in 82.
Mm-hmm. What was your involvement with the rally before the Buffalo Chip? Were you going every year? Were you organizing it or?
It was such a small deal, I didn't know it existed.
Really?
Yeah. It just, it wasn't really a factor at all. In fact, the way I found out that there was even a motorcycle thing going on was I was visiting my brother home from the Army, and he lives 300 miles east of here. And he was telling me, well, he was going for this motorcycle ride out to the Black Hills. And I asked him, well, what's that all about? And he said, oh, just some friends get together every year and we just go out and ride around the hills for a few days and that's it. So and then I come back. I had a fellow pick me up at the airport. I'd come back from New York doing some stuff. I was a lawyer and I was representing the Bar Association. And I come back from the bar convention in New York City. And as we were driving down the freeway, there was a motorcycle going up the hill, right? And I thought, well, what the heck, motorcycle going up a hill, a bunch of people watching. And so I thought, well, let's find a way to get over there and see what's going on. So those two deals were my thing about the motorcycle rally until it coming up for the news about trying to just keep motorcyclists out of town.
Sure. So then what was the spark of the idea? You've got the city trying to kick all the motorcyclists out of town. Where did you come up with the idea to say, hey, let's start this Buffalo Chip thing?
Oh, I tell people it's just a natural outgrowth of throwing keg parties in high school, right? Really, if people aren't wanted in town, then let's just have a little party outside of town where people feel like they're welcome. That was the genesis of the whole thing. And so for me, that was it. And so then went looking for a little space where we could have some privacy, wasn't too far away from you know the key element there was Sturgis because it was getting the publicity for trying to keep people out of town, right?
Right.
And so we just word of mouth and come on out here and goof off.
So what was that first year like at the Buffalo Chip?
Oh, it was kind of like a lot of other businesses, if you would, to start with. Except we didn't really look at it as a. I didn't look at it as a business. It was more of just a lark, a fun little deal. One time, but we had maybe an honest 200 or 300 people was all, and I tell people it was more like 20, and it seemed like 20, and we had dreams of having a concert kind of stuff, and that didn't work out real well. But we didn't know anything about anything. We were just having a party. So as long as people had beer and a bonfire, life was good.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, that was the key, right? Beer and fire.
Yeah. And just so you said, didn't have too many people at the first one. Do you know the numbers of this last rally event that you just held?
No, I let the government take, give numbers, right? Because I don't know. I don't count them. And you can't really tell just how many people are here. But I know there's room for a lot more, right?
Sure.
Always, so yeah, but it's certainly a lot bigger than it was back in '82.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically running a small city between the entertainment, restaurants, the bars, the camping, the RVs, the toilets and showers. I mean, every beer and ice, even Bikini Beach. You guys got everything out there now.
Well, we try. It didn't all happen on the second year either, right? But 43 years of adding one or two things every year. And so, yeah, we get to where we have enough entertainment going on of all different kinds that people don't ever have to leave if they don't want to. And, they can have, there's just no excuse for being bored.
That's for sure. There's so
But at
many
the
things to
same
do.
time, we got several hundred acres here, so you can get away from the, people if you want to as well. So if you like a nice quiet little spot, then just right over there you can find quiet, right?
Sure.
One more shade, just look all along these trees and that's what you get, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the beach area is a beautiful little oasis that we made. It works really well.
Yeah. Was that like kind of swimming hole there, or was that a creation of you guys?
Oh, it was a stock pond that was fed by three different springs, and the water that comes out of the springs is green, so we called it Emerald Pond. But so after a fashion, we just dug it out so it's about 30 feet deep, and then we don't have to worry about anybody hitting bottom particularly.
Sure.
And then it fills up, and people have a good time.
Yeah. People.
Quite a bunch of people swimming in it. This year because it was hot.
It was a little toasty. Yeah, we saw a lot of people swinging from the rope swing, diving right in, even just dipping their toes in. I mean, it was all kinds of stuff going on there, which is cool to see.
Well, it is cool to see. People just having fun.
Yeah, and speaking of fun, you obviously have a lot of awesome entertainment. You had Jelly Roll and Kid Rock there this year. Do you remember the first year you had like a band that you're like, oh my god, like they're big and they're going to come play at the Buffalo Chip?
Oh, we tried to do that right from probably the get go, but I don't remember the first one right offhand. Well, Johnny Paycheck in '82,
Hmm.
and Susan Nelson, one of Willie's daughters. So they carried the weight. Then we had a number of people that just wanted to play.
Yeah, I've heard that there are a lot of you or I hear you get a lot of compliments from a lot of bands that say they love the energy at the Buffalo Chip. It's one of their favorite places to play. Can you share some of the compliments that you've gotten?
Oh yeah, we had road manager. I think it was like Bon Jovi's. They manages other deals on, but he said, afterwards he said, I have done shows virtually every major city in the world, right,
Hmm.
all over. He says, I can tell you honestly, there ain't no place like this place, any place, right? That's a quote, easy to remember, and so we've had that, and in 2000. Um, 38 Special did a live recording out here, and it was a California motor or a record company. And back then, the equipment was already condensed, but they had, I don't know, 4 buses that were just nothing but electronics. Right, the
Wow.
sides came up, and the whole bus was electronics. And I just asked the producer. I said, how come you decided to come here to record this live album?
Hmm.
And this is another one of those things I remember. This is a quote. He said, well, there seems to be a certain ambiance here that doesn't exist anywhere else.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah. I thought, man, I can remember that, right?
Yeah.
That was fun. There's a certain ambiance here that doesn't exist anywhere else. We just call it magic, right? So there's a little bit of magic here that keeps people happy. And that's been our challenge over the years, how to accommodate more people every year, how to grow every year without screwing up that magic that we really don't know why it exists, right?
Sure.
But it's really all the people. So, those guys ask questions, they come in, the professionals, and they say, geez, how can you have so many people and never have any trouble? It's all nice people. Simple as that, right? Everybody's got elbow room. Nobody gets in anybody else's face. And everybody's here on vacation making new friends. So it just goes really smoothly. And if you were here, you probably experienced some of that yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you really do experience and feel that kind of just everybody's there to relax or to party and to have a good time and not get in anybody else's way. It's a very like live and let live thing because there is so much to do, whether that's riding, whether that's staying the whole time at the Buffalo Chip, seeing the shows, relaxing. I had a guy a couple of tents down from me who basically just spent the first 3 days he was there at Bikini Beach just swimming. I didn't see his bike move for like 3 days.
Well, if he rode 1,500 miles to get here, he'd already needed a break, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
you rode from Florida, so I'd want to relax too.
yeah. Well, and when after the main show, the main stage show is over about midnight, that Bikini Beach is just the hottest party in the world.
Yeah, yeah, that's I learned firsthand that it didn't start until midnight, which was kind of fun. Talking about all the magic that is kind of there and that just comes from this low key live and let live, letting people come to have a good time and not bother them. Do you have any other standout memories of maybe crazy stuff you've seen or something that always comes back in your head after an event?
After an event, actually, the thing is the consistency of not having any problems. Stuff that sticks out is the people I meet
Hmm.
along the way. I mean, the reason I quit practicing law was all my friends were on motorcycles and they'd come back once a year, right?
Right.
So it took me all year to get ready to see them again. And so, really, it's just the memories every year, new ones. Look at some of the photos. And then there's just the challenges of making a business out of it as well. So if we can use the video, if we can take the film, it used to be, right, and then show people their memories, and then get compliments for that. That's really what makes you feel good. That people appreciate it. I keep some of the compliments that we have. I keep probably all of them, but people write really nice things, and you got folks that 3 or 4 generations now coming out here together, and you've seen maybe some of that too. Families here, so a fellow that I called him. He wrote a nice nice letter, and
Hmm.
I called him up just to thank him for it. And he's saying, yeah, his he was 6 years old in 1990 when his father brought him here,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
And so in 2017, his father passed away. And so he rode his father's motorcycle out here, which must have been one of the ones that he rode out here in 1990 with, because it broke down 5 times getting here, right?
Right.
Because back then, the only people here were the ones that could keep that motorcycle running long enough to get here, right?
Hmm.
And and then he said, now I got a new bike, and my wife and I come out this year, and we're going to come back every year for the rest of our lives. So, you know, yeah, those kind of things stick out. Just people that it's meaningful to them. I have a surprising number of people just actually say that, coming out here, meeting people, seeing what's going on, just has really changed their lives. One of the people, give you another example, this guy I assumed to be a vet. I didn't question him about that, but he was telling me that I'll say, I'll say it was 2019. In fact, it was. He told me it was 2019. He had the buffalo chip on his bucket list,
Hmm.
and he was just so low, so down on everything. He was going to come here, then he was done. He was going to end it all, right? And
Jeez.
he said, I come out there, and he said, I met so many nice people, and it was so positive. I had so much fun. Says that I changed my plans, and I'm coming back every year again for the rest of my life, right?
Right.
And you think, wow, you had a positive impact on somebody for some reason that I can't really put a finger on what it was, and it isn't just us. I mean, it's mainly the people that are here.
Hmm.
So it's very meaningful to a lot of people.
Yeah, that's pretty impactful. I mean, one of the going into your guys' office, the picture that stuck out to me is the picture that Michael Lichter took, I believe, of the bride and groom on a chopper that's riding away that says "just married." I mean, between the story you just told and that, I mean, I don't think how much more impactful you could get.
Well, one time, it was maybe 3 weeks before the rally. I'm going down by one of the most prettiest places on the campground there in the creek, where the creek loops around, and it's just nicely wooded little meadows in between.
Hmm.
And they had it all taped off with yellow tape, right? A large area, and there was a camper there, and plus a tent and that sort of stuff. And so I thought, well, what's going on here, right?
Right.
Well, I go up and talk with them, and they're having a little family reunion,
Mm.
and they were going to set up their camp before they went to Yellowstone, and then they were going to come back for the rally, but they wanted their camp to be here when they got here, right? And they
Hmm.
wanted that spot.
Right.
And uprides this motorcycle, brand spanking new. This guy on it, he just bought it before. This was the only trip that motorcycle had taken. He bought it and rode it here, right?
Jeez.
And this woman on the back had this blue hair and these really nice stretch slacks that were so popular in the 70s,
Hmm.
And she's like her 80th birthday. First time she'd ever been on a motorcycle, and he'd given her a tour around the campground, right?
Hmm.
Like he'd been here before or something, but he hadn't. And so I'm just about to ask him. I said, some questions about it. And up walks this young couple, 23 years old, and they had met at that spot a couple of years back. Then got married at that spot, a year or so ago, and then now they've come back and they have a child of their own, bringing the baby along, right?
Wow.
And so, yeah, those little things stick out. And you think, once again, you're making an impact with people, and it's positive.
Yeah, you really are. And speaking of, multiple generations and the buffalo chip, I heard that Damon was actually born underneath the main stage,
That's a good story. Yeah.
and he's basically been growing up with the buffalo chip ever since. It's in his blood. So, tell me about how he's kind of come into the fold and what he's doing now.
Oh, hopefully he's just preparing himself to do everything, right? because I'm thinking, the less I can do, the less trouble I cause, right?
Right.
So, yeah, no, we're kind of a American typical family. Got divorced when he was 3, I think, and so summer visitation
Mhm.
come out here about the time we were getting this thing all started. So just put him to work with a bunch of people that were temporary, transient workers, real old style bikers,
Sure.
if you will. And so, yeah, so that was kind of, yeah, he still doesn't tell me all the stuff that he learned or did during those years, right?
Right.
I joke every time we have a water leak that the reason is because Damon didn't do it right back when he was 10, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It hasn't held. You gotta do it again, Damon. Go send him out to make it happen again. So well, I think he's done okay because he's now, I think, officially the president of the Buffalo Chip, correct?
Yep, yep, yep.
And how long has he been at that?
Oh, a couple of days. Um, no, just earlier this year, but actually, he's been training for it for just a long dang time. He's doing a lot of stuff. He needed to have the other stuff, and Skisson is literally one of those deals where you really just need to get out of the way,
Okay.
right? So make him president and start getting out of the way a little bit, right? And I got plenty of other things I can be doing other than the day to day running the business sort of
Sure.
thing. And so that's where he's headed is the day to day run of the business. Yeah, and when he first wanted to have more responsibility, is he took a break and went out for a few years and had a business of his own and a couple of different little careers, and then wanted to come back. And I just told him, oh, the thing that I'd like to have most is somebody that could actually operate the liquor business. And so I told him a very rudimentary, very intense, labor intensive way of getting some efficiency
Hmm.
in the operation of the bars. And danged if he didn't do absolutely everything I told him to do, right?
Yeah.
So it worked out. So we kept him on.
It's got to make you proud.
It was a real good thing. It was just one of those good moments. You think, wow, he really did it. It wasn't that you're going to find anybody else to be that detail oriented, but he's capable of about anything.
Sure. Now that he's the president, did you get to kick back a little bit and enjoy the chip a little bit more this year?
Um, I don't think I noticed any change in stuff. We grew. We had a lot of new things, new activities,
Hmm.
and watching him enjoy executing some of his own ideas, um, like that beer wall,
Right.
crazy crap, right? That's if you can't have fun, you're not having fun, right?
Right. What's the point?
Yep, that's it. So he's yeah, so I get some of that. But there's plenty of always things to do. And so we got way more people than we had when he was 10.
Sure.
So and we got way more acreage to cover than when he was 10. And then politics are different, wouldn't you guess?
Believe it or
And
not.
politics are, and if you're in a business, if you're in a people business, politics are pretty damn important.
Sure. Um, so talking about all the acreage and all the stuff to do, let's take a look forward a little bit. I mean, what do you think the future holds for the Buffalo Chip? Where do you think Damon's going to take it to the next level?
That's a question you need to ask him. We'll have our meetings and have some retreats and be talking about that. But um, this is his first year as president. We talked about our longer term goals over the years, and really comes down to the same thing: how to grow, not screw up the magic, right?
Yeah.
Because you're either growing or you're dying. So you got to keep new stuff and you got to pay attention to the people that you're entertaining. Because if they're not entertained, you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not gonna be growing. You're gonna be going the other way. So
So yeah, what I'll learn with the presidency and stuff, he'll start thinking about a little bit about the budget, thinking like, oh God, how are we going to pay for that, right?
right.
And see, we've we've had a pretty unique experience because didn't have 10 cents when we started this thing, and so we did everything without a line of credit and without any money,
Wow.
and really did that. We're able to do it really solely because people believed in us enough to help out, and I'll pay you later, right?
Mm,
After the rally, right? And
sure.
so the heat's on. Don't lose the money during the rally because you got all these people to pay as soon as it's over.
Yeah. I mean, with the staff that you bring in, you got a lot of people that kind of depend on it.
We got people whose careers are here. 43 years. I just yesterday, one of the guys that comes in and helps us with a whole bunch of stuff, a wizard, 29 years old. Okay, let's see. I remember when he was born, remember when his parents moved here because this was their job.
Right.
Remember when he went to school, remember when he's old enough to start helping his dad do his job out here, right?
Hmm.
And now the kids, has got some serious responsibilities in other places and still comes out here to help us with the stuff that we still aren't smart enough to figure out, right?
That's
So
cool.
that's cool. Yes, it is. So you see that. So you hope that that's going to happen. So yeah, we hire families. Actually, his sister works here, his father works here,
Wow.
his uncle works here. So it's not just our family. There are other families involved in this program as well.
Sure. Well, last question I have for you. What is your favorite part of just putting on the whole thing? What does it for you?
Oh, the memories I have afterwards, right? I
Right.
mean, and the friends. And so, you get to, there's an old Elvis Presley song. It says, I got neighbors, I got friends just about everywhere the rainbow ends.
Mm,
And that sure wasn't happening when I was doing criminal defense in a small town of 5,000 people in a county of only 15,000, right? So it, yeah, it's the people that come here from all walks of life, all backgrounds, and they come here and they have the time of their lives, and they're just so happy about it. They share that with you. They share their own lives with you. Pretty soon, their families sometimes too, and you go someplace and you bump into them, or you know that they're going to be there. So yeah, you have little get-togethers anywhere. It's That's what is important about it. So it, it is a takeaway thing. What do I take away from having the rally as an event? I take away the relationships, the friendships, and the future, because that's the whole thing. Everybody's got a future, and some of them are planning a lot different things than other ones, right? So you learn a lot about life in general, and it helps you make some selections of what you want to do yourself.
I love it. I think the magic you're talking about. I think it's in the people.
It absolutely is in the people. You know, I just remember one time I went out. This two guys had been showing up 2 3 weeks early for the rally since practically day one,
Mm,
right? Every year, and so I had some time. I stopped by there and because I really hadn't met these people, I just knew that they'd been there. And I pull up, and the guy comes out. He says, "Oh, you're Woody. You're the owner of the place. Oh, you know what they say? You go on vacation, you come back, and your wife's sleeping with your best friend. Well, I brought my best friend with me. Hey, Joe, come on out here, me, Woody. You know, fun stuff, right?
yeah.
And so those people were here still again this year, and unfortunately, one of them is such bad health that he weighed less than 100 pounds.
Mm,
And so I think this is a bucket list deal for him. I was afraid he wasn't going to survive, the rally. But he was at Fort Meade Hospital, which is only 2 miles, 1 mile maybe away from the chip,
Mhm.
and so they brought him over from the hospital so he could be in a tent on the side of the hill for the rally, right? And then
Yeah.
took him back to the hospital when the rally was over. So he made it.
Well, if that
So yes, yeah,
if that doesn't make
you
a
know.
statement about what you guys have built and how special it is to so many people, I don't know what would be. So, Rod, thank you so much for the time, and we really appreciate it.
Well, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you for the hospitality as well.
You're welcome.